Why does intelligence often feel more like a curse than a gift? Why do those with sharp minds find themselves isolated, ridiculed, or even despised by society? If knowledge is power, then shouldn't intelligence be something admired rather than resented? Arthur Schopenhauer, the great pessimist of philosophy, didn't think so. He saw intelligence not as a path to admiration, but as a road to alienation. According to Schopenhauer, highly intelligent individuals are doomed to be misunderstood and even disliked, not because they are arrogant or condescending, but because their way of seeing the world fundamentally threatens the comfort of the majority. While society thrives on conformity, intelligent individuals disrupt this equilibrium simply by existing. Their ability to perceive reality without illusion, to question common beliefs, and to resist collective thinking makes them outsiders in a world that rewards obedience rather than insight. But does this mean intellectual isolation is inevitable? Is there a way for intelligent individuals to navigate society without constantly feeling like they're at war with it? Schopenhauer believed there was, if one was willing to accept the brutal truths of human nature. Let's explore why intelligence is met with hostility, and more importantly, what Schopenhauer advises those who find themselves suffering because of it. At its core, society is not built on intelligence, but on survival, stability, and predictability. The majority of people seek comfort, not deep truths. They want validation, not critical analysis. Intelligence disrupts this order by forcing people to confront uncomfortable realities, exposing contradictions in widely held beliefs, and questioning traditions that have stood unchallenged for generations. Schopenhauer understood this tension well. He argued that most people do not think independently. They simply inherit their beliefs from the society they were born into. Because of this, truly intelligent individuals, those who think for themselves rather than blindly following convention, are perceived as dangerous. They shake the foundations upon which the majority builds its worldview, and for that, they are resented rather than admired. He also pointed out that intelligence often leads to a certain emotional detachment. While most people form bonds based on shared illusions, be it religion, national identity, or cultural norms, highly intelligent individuals tend to see through these constructs. As a result, they struggle to fully connect with those who are still immersed in them. This inability to relate on a fundamental level creates an invisible barrier between the intelligent and the masses, further fueling resentment. Schopenhauer had little patience for mediocrity, and he believed that mediocrity despises anything that exposes its limitations. He argued that the world is dominated by average minds, and these minds do not like to be reminded of their own shortcomings. Intelligent individuals, simply by existing, serve as a painful contrast to the ordinary, and this contrast breeds resentment. This is where envy enters the picture. While people may admire intelligence from a distance, through books, art, or philosophy, they often dislike encountering it in real life. It reminds them of what they lack, of the intellectual depths they will never reach. This silent but pervasive envy manifests in different ways, from subtle dismissals and mockery to outright hostility and exclusion. Schopenhauer even suggested that intelligence is inherently solitary because it sets a person apart from the group. The more one understands, the less one can participate in the illusions that bind society together. The intelligent individual, unwilling to engage in shallow small talk, disinterested in meaningless social rituals, and skeptical of popular trends, finds themselves standing on the outside looking in. For Schopenhauer, intelligence was not just about acquiring knowledge, it was about seeing reality with brutal clarity. And reality, in his view, was bleak. He believed that life was filled with suffering, that human desires were endless and futile, and that happiness was nothing more than the brief absence of pain. The average person avoids thinking about these harsh truths, distracting themselves with entertainment, social obligations, and mindless pleasures. But the intelligent individual cannot look away. Their mind does not allow them the luxury of ignorance. This relentless clarity makes them appear cynical or negative to others. People do not want to hear that their cherished beliefs are illusions. They do not want to be reminded of their mortality, the fragility of existence, or the futility of their ambitions. And so, they turn on those who force them to confront these realities. This is why Schopenhauer believed that intelligence is often accompanied by a deep, existential loneliness. The smarter a person is, the more they see the absurdity of human behavior, the contradictions of social norms, and the inevitability of suffering. And the more they see, the harder it becomes to relate to those who do not. So, if society will always resent intelligence, what is the solution? Schopenhauer did not advocate for rebellion or trying to change the masses. He believed such efforts were futile. Instead, he suggested a different approach, strategic withdrawal. Rather than wasting energy trying to fit into a world that does not understand them, intelligent individuals should embrace solitude and focus on personal intellectual fulfillment. Schopenhauer believed that true happiness for an intelligent person comes not from social acceptance, but from deep engagement with philosophy, literature, and art. He advised seeking beauty and wisdom in these things rather than in human relationships, which are often disappointing and shallow. However, he also acknowledged that complete isolation is neither healthy nor practical. Instead, he suggested limiting one's social interactions to those who are truly capable of meaningful conversation and understanding. If such people are rare, then books, written by the greatest minds of history, can serve as companions just as well as living individuals. Ultimately, Schopenhauer's advice boils down to this: do not seek validation from society, because it will not give it to you. Accept your intelligence as both a gift and a burden, and use it to enrich your inner life rather than to gain external approval. Intelligence, as Schopenhauer saw it, is a double-edged sword. It grants insight, but isolates. It reveals truth, but destroys illusions. And because of this, society will always look upon the highly intelligent with suspicion, resentment, or even outright hostility. But this does not mean an intelligent person is doomed to misery. By shifting focus away from social validation and toward intellectual fulfillment, one can turn intelligence from a source of suffering into a source of meaning. The challenge is not to be understood by the majority. That is a losing battle. The challenge is to find satisfaction in the life of the mind, even when it feels like the world is against you. So, the choice remains. Fight against society's hostility and exhaust yourself trying to be accepted, or embrace your intelligence as a path to deeper understanding and personal fulfillment. Schopenhauer's answer was clear: withdraw, think deeply, and let the rest of the world continue its illusions. Thanks for listening.